Hey fella, do you see me? Because I see you. You are a cute one. Okay, I'm just gonna leave you be. Okay, yeah, I figured you'd do that. Greetings, namaste, and welcome to Astrology Awakening. This edition deals with the upcoming Jupiter retrograde in late July, seasonal retrograde, which Jupiter will join Saturn, Shani, in their crooked path, which is what retrograde actually is. It's an asymmetrical movement of a planetary body rather than a backwards movement, but it actually registers backwardly in the degrees. So, as well as I'm going to address some promised content that deals with tropical Western versus Vedic sidereal systems, and did a little field demo and let the night sky apps decide. So that'll be the second half. I'll talk about Western versus Vedic. And before I get into any of it, let's talk about the cool AF day out of time, which is coming up on July 25th. I actually researched this for the calendar manipulation drop I did, and it was new to me. I was aware that there was a lunar calendar, but the way it's calculated is pretty cool. 364 days, so you take the lunar cycle, one full moon, new moon, is 28 days. Multiply that by 13, and that's 364. So that's almost a full year. And that's what the sun-based system that Caesar was instituting was trying to squeeze in. And they had all these leap years and years of confusion. And the drop I did on it was a little confusing, but that's cool. What we have with the 365th day that lingers is what the Mayan call the day out of time. And this is celebrated on July 25th, upcoming. So this is a day apparently to reflect and basically step out of time, maybe time slip, try remote viewing, or do something that challenges the space-time continuum in a safe and practical way. Kriya yoga, meditation, stuff like that. Or if you have an actual, time machine, holler at me. So anyhow, the day out of time is going to be pretty fire, and I put up a chart to show you what's going on there, where it's just pretty much about taking time out, relying on more of the right brain, feminine aspects of one's nature. So it was just Guru Purnima, which is the full moon that celebrates the guru in Hindu culture, and gratitude and blessings to the gurus. So fitting that guru goes retrograde this month, so that we can learn all of our lessons. Retrogrades are kind of the subject that I find to be the most, not divisive, but there's many varying thoughts on retrogrades that don't all mesh entirely. And in my limited, lifetime of I guess like field research of looking at charts just in the past several years and comparing it to people that I've known, their biography and public figures, and doing readings for people. This is how we gather data even on a day-to-day basis. It's just our circles, our network circles. The 11th house, which Saturn rules. We have Jupiter, the planet of expansion and the consciousness of humanity in a way. And many people think Jupiter is just this beautiful benefic planet, but I think that you have to go to this idea of expansiveness. Do we always want everything expanded? Because Jupiter is actually in the Roman concept, part of the Jupiter-Mars, this is very embedded in their culture of war. So if you look at times of war and look at and track where Jupiter is, you'll definitely see a correlation. So it's about having a well-appointed, well-energized Jupiter. And this Jupiter is pretty nicely energized right now. It's in its own house, Pisces. The retrogrades with Saturn and Jupiter, which are very slower moving planets than the other ones, you don't necessarily feel the impact on the micro as much on a day-to-day basis. It's where you might see the macro in retrospect. So that's why, what I like to bring to the conversation deals with shadow periods. And I found that that's a really fire-like perspective in which to approach these retrogrades in a pragmatic way, to utilize the energy. And I'll be even more helpful in this way with the upcoming Mercury retrograde. For Jupiter and Saturn, these dates are going to go so far back and so far forward that, well, let's just get into it. The idea of a retrograde is you're going to go through things 3 times. You're going to experience the energy of that planet in the first time you move through it, then the retrograde back over that same period, which is called the shadow period, and then going back forward to the point where the retrograde started is the shadow retrace. I don't know if that's the technical term, but that's what I call it. And so these 3 periods can be distinctly utilized depending on where Jupiter or Saturn or whatever planet is retrograding falls in your chart. And on that topic of how this applies to people, those who have retrogrades in their charts will definitely feel retrograde more. And people who have significant Pisces, Cancer, Virgo, and Scorpio placements will also feel it, because this is where Jupiter is aspecting. Those who are going through a Jupiter Mahadasha will feel it more. And that's the crazy thing about astrology, is there's no one size fits all. It's very much about the nuance of each chart. And it's why getting readings is so invaluable. And if you would care for a reading or want to talk about your chart, hit me up at this email. But even more importantly, seek out the gurus that I have learned from, which include Kapiel Raj, inimitable KRS, who I've been basically learning the majority of what I know from, and all of his circle, the Pi team, and so on. And then there's the great Punit, who has this incredible soothing delivery, and the man is a philosophical poet, very elegant and eloquent in every way. And who else? Of course, Claire Nakti, who my mom actually, I don't know if she does readings, but my mom got a course from her, and her content is superb, like pure fire, very next level thinking. So any of those gurus definitely seek out before you'd hit me up. But if you do want to hit me up, we'll chat. Brass tacks. What are the dates, man? Let's talk dates. So Jupiter will go retrograde July 28th. And continue to be retrograde until November 23rd. Now, in the zodiac that I'll show you on the screen, this traces as degrees going backwards. But as I said, it's a crooked path, an asymmetrical energy. But more importantly, it's a return to something, both karmically and also in a very physical space sense. And this return will take us back to May 4th. This is when the end of the retrograde will, by degree, land us. So think about it this way. Events that happen beginning on May 4th and going until July 28th, you're essentially going through these 3 times. Now, the first time, you're not even dealing with anything. You don't know it's there, and boom, retrograde. Okay, so now I have to think back 2 months, what happened to me. Dealing with higher education, religious institutions, or hospital visits, places where people are ill, experts, authority figures. These people will have to revisit something in some way, and these events will basically have taken place between May 4th and July 28th. So the idea of a retrograde is definitely be more cautious during this period, and depending on where this is in your chart, of course, you'll have to know that in order to know where most to be cautious. But when you get Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury all going retrograde in October, I believe, That's definitely the month to everyone watch your step. What will happen is it'll take until February 14th of 2023 before Jupiter, once it returns to a normal path, gets to where it was on July 28th when it began the retrograde. Hope that made sense. Western tropical versus Vedic sidereal. Showdown begin. So first I'm going to show you, this is from AstroSeek, horoscopes.astroseek.com. I'm not sure. It was kind of hard actually to find just a zodiac, but you can see here, I chose a very interesting day where the sun was actually transiting from Gemini into Cancer, and it's sort of like everybody's right. But you can definitely tell with the moon here, it says Pisces, the moon is in Pisces, Jupiter is in Aries, and Mars is in Taurus, Saturn is in Aquarius. And these are one full zodiac sign incorrect from the actual planets in their nighttime transit, or daytime transit for that matter. So the night sky app was like a little difficult to see. I'm going to show that just as like bonus footage at the end. But here's the sky chart from Sky Map Online, and you can see very clearly here Jupiter is in Pisces, Mars is in Aries, and the moon is in Aquarius, where the tropical is saying it's in Pisces. So there you have it. Not much else to say, no mic drop, nothing. I love astrology just in general, so anything that anybody gets out of it is all right by me. This was actually a good transit to explore this Western versus Vedic concept, because I think a lot of the reason why people resist transitioning to Vedic is they're married a little bit to their tropical identity, which again is your sun sign. And Vedic definitely correlates the individual more to the moon, which has a stay in zodiac sign for 2.5 days, whereas the sun stays there for 30 days. You're there for 30 days, you're going to be corresponding to all those people who have that same sun within those 30 days. But with the moon, you're corresponding to just those people in that 2.5 day, and even more so when you talk about Nakshatras, you're within just 1 day with the moon. And that's as precise as I can imagine the system getting in terms of its accuracy is the moon. Yeah, sun is always traveling with a couple of companions as well. So Venus and Mercury have a significant impact on our personal identity. You may switch the sun to a different zodiac sign when you switch from Western to Vedic. You may have Venus or Mercury or both still in that zodiac sign you thought was your birth sign. So these energies will resonate in the individual regardless, and these cusp nakshatras show that this is a 12 zodiac wheel, but there are some arbitrary endpoints. The only time that there is not a cusp nakshatra, meaning a nakshatra that goes from one zodiac sign into another, is at Gandanta points. This is where a water sign meets a fire sign. So for example, Cancer is a water sign and Leo is a fire sign. So when these two zodiac signs meet, there is no cusp nakshatra. It's a clean cutoff with Aslesha and Magha. So the other really interesting thing about these cusp nakshatras is they are always ruled by Mars, Jupiter, and the Sun, which I thought was kind of interesting. This is how Vimshatari Mahadasha is calculated. So this is the planet, basically, that you will be born into. This energy will affect the beginning point of all the lunar energies throughout the course of your life. So if you're confused and or intrigued by everything I just said, please reach out to a Vedic astrologer at once and get some clarity on yourself, because it's a system that truly humbles anyone who delves into it. And I think the goal of a lot of astrologers is to just create other astrologers. And that's, a lot of people are willing to go there at this point if they can be shown a system that has some proof behind it. So gratitude for listening, guys.